Hey YouTube, I'm back with another deck profile video. Today I'm going to be doing a video on my Ahsha deck. So this is based off of the cards that I pulled from the latest next stage booster set boxes that I opened in the previous video. So I went and I updated the deck. The only thing that I changed from the trial deck, because originally I was running one order card to test it out, and it was putting in some work in some of the games. Another card that I was running before was Maiden of Botfist. Again, this card is also from the trial deck. So if you don't have the one card that I will point out that's in here that's not from the booster set or the trial deck, you can feel free to substitute these grade 2s in place of that card, but we'll show that in a little bit. The main reason why I swapped them though was because I wanted the deck to have a little bit more draw power in terms of hand advantage, because as you will see, this is a 12 crit deck. Just like my next stage deck, so I'm not running any draw sentinels in here, I'm running the crit sentinels. And the deck, with Force 2, the deck is pretty scary in terms of how much aggression it can generate and how much offensive push it can have in the mid and late game. So, start off here with the Dream, what people call Big Ahsha. So this is Dream-Spinning Ranunculus Ahsha. Ranunculus Ahsha, I only have 3 of them, unfortunately. If you saw the unboxing video, I need to get a 4th one, and then once I have a 4th one, she'll definitely be at 4. But 3 for now. The deck runs fine with 3, but 4 makes it just a little bit more consistent. The nice thing about this deck is the way this one, as well as the Alt-Mile deck, run. It's okay to ride the trial deck one first, and then go into this one second. But Ahsha, unlike Alt-Mile, where Alt-Mile actually does benefit quite a bit from riding the big Alt-Mile second, this one you can play the whole game as just the big Ahsha from the start, and it works just fine. So that's why you do kind of want 4 of those. But as backup, we do run 4 Ranunculus Flower Maiden Ahsha. So this is from the trial deck. So 4 of this. This is actually good as a rearguard or vanguard. The only effect that it has that's vanguard only is retire 3 rearguards to call a Ahsha's Flower Fairy token. So it's really good at generating a flower token. Whereas with this one, it's Soul Blast 1 and retire 2 rearguards to call a flower token. So at the cost of a Soul Blast and 2 retires, you get the token. So it's much easier to pull off the token, the clone token. Whereas this one, it's higher cost. But that's why we want to run a little bit more cards that can generate some plus or advantage to the hand for doing that. So because I do have an open spot, because I'm missing an Ahsha, that did allow me to run Cornflower Maiden Ines. So she originally was the backup for Ahsha way back in the early days of G Vanguard, before Dream-Spinning was a thing. Actually, Dream-Spinning was a grade 4, so people would run like 4 of Ahsha and then 4 of the Ines. Eventually there was a newer Ahsha that replaced Ines, but there were some other lineups early on. I do have a deck profile of the original Ahsha deck that does feature the old Ines card as well as that one. So 2 of her, so we're doing a run 9 grade 3. 9 grade 3s is okay, but I wouldn't run any more than 9. Ideally, you just run 4 and 4, but then that would make for a very boring deck. So I wanted to kind of change things up a little bit. Because I was missing an Ahsha, I tried to capitalize on that, make a more unique build for you guys. So for grade 2s, I am running 3 Osmanthus Maiden Anelma because I'm only pulled 3 for some weird reason. This is one of the few double Rs that I didn't pull a playset of. So unfortunately for me, it was the Neo Nectars that I got like 3/3/3 on the main cards they need, but this card's not too bad in terms of finding a 4th one, so I should be able to update that real soon. But 3 Anelma for now, it basically has a really good effect to generate a token when placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw a card, and call up to 1 plant token. So it generates board presence, and it gives you a card to hand. That's very good. And then the Rearguard continuous effect is if you have a Rearguard on your Rearguard circle with the same card name as your grade 3 grade Vanguard, all your units get boost. So this is kind of like the old Bloom style they had. It's kind of a throwback to that kind of effect. So you do want to kind of run 4 of these, but 3 is okay for now. Because I only have 3 of those, I am running 4 Blossoming Maiden Cela. So this is from the trial deck. She's really good too. She has a Vanguard or Rearguard main phase effect. Counterblast 1, call up to 2 plant tokens. So for 1 counterblast, you generate 2 tokens. That's pretty good, I would say. Then if you have a unit, the main thing that you're going to be using these tokens for is you're going to sacrifice them off for one of the Ahshas to generate the Ahsha Flower Fairy token. And then if you have a unit with the same card name as your Vanguard on rearguard, this unit cannot be retired by card effects and gets plus 5,000. So unfortunately that doesn't work against Bind, like Vanquisher, or it doesn't work against things like, you know, if you're playing against someone who uses the Lost Legend deck with that card, it can send stuff to the bottom of the deck. It can still be targeted, it just can't be retired. So unfortunately it doesn't work against Narukami, but it's still overall pretty nice continuous effect. So 4 of that, and then here's the card that if you don't have this card, you can run the cards that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Originally I was running these 4 cards from the trial deck, but I did take them out recently, put Irminsul in. So this is the retrain of the Transriser clone. If you're familiar with Vanguard 0, you're doing the Neo Nectar event. Irminsul was the 7k grade 2, you call it down and it like checks the top card, and if it's a non-trigger it calls it. So now what he does is in standard, when he's placed on rearguard circle, if you have 2 or more grade 0 rearguards, and usually you will because this calls 2 tokens, this calls tokens, you're basically calling tokens a lot. You get to counterblast 1, draw a card, and all your units in the same column as this unit gets plus 5,000. So pretty nice. The reason why I'm running it is because I need more draw power, and this allows you to easily just draw a card for counterblast 1, as long as you have the 2 grade 0s. That's the only setup required for this. So we do run 4 of it because, like I said, we aren't running any draw triggers. So that gives us these cards. Anelma and Irminsul give us good draw power, and then Ines also does build up field presence. You don't often use this card, but it does help build up the board. For grade 1s, 3 Padmini. I do need 4 of these. I'm well aware of that, but like I said, I pulled 3, and that's what I have out of the box. So 3 Padmini. Eventually I will have 4, but basically this is important because you use this to search for your Ahsha, either one of them, if you don't already have it in the opening hand. It just also does deck thin. It filters a grade 3 to your hand, and then if you put a card, you discard a card from your hand. So what I like to do is if I have like Ines or something, I can add an Ahsha with this search and then send Ines to the drop zone or something like that, something similar. So that's Padmini. So, but you do kind of want to run 4. So if I had 4, I would drop this next card. So I'm running Momosmo. I call it Momo, but Momosmo from the trial deck. Ideally, I'd only run 1, and I would bump Padmini to 4. But because Padmini's at 3, I do have 2 of these for now. But basically, when it boosts as a rearguard, if you have 5 or more units, and usually the field does get filled up pretty quick by the time you're on grade 3. Soul Blast 1, and this unit gets plus 10,000 power. So it's just a really good booster behind like a Force 2 Vanguard or something to push for game, or just push damage in general. So 2 of those, but you only really need 1 with this particular build because I am running 9 grade 3s. But if you were running 8, then you probably wouldn't need, you'd probably cut this or keep 2 of it, and you would not run Ines. So you'd have 4 grade 3 or 8 grade 3s, and you would have the standard 14 grade 1s. So in that scenario, you wouldn't have to cut this, or you could run this plus some other tech card. This is basically the tech card. The next I am running 4 Maiden of Sweetberry. This card is from the set. It's a rare. It's really good. It's surprisingly good. When I was opening the packs, I read this card, and I immediately realized this is a card that I'm going to be putting in the deck because it just calls a token. You just place it down, and you just get a token just like that. And if your Vanguard's grade 3, you get to Soul Charge 1. And there are some Soul Blast effects in here, like Anelma, Ines, Ahsha. They do have some Soul Blast costs in here, so it does kind of help a lot. And then if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, it has such an easy continuous skill as a rearguard. During your turn, if your Vanguard's grade 3 or greater, this is just 13k. I mean, that's super easy to pull off. So this card's extremely consistent. I'm surprised this isn't a double R. Alright, and then the last grade 1 I'm running is 4 Budding Maiden Diane. There's another trial deck card. It's not, I feel like this could be swapped for something else, but I'm not sure what I would run in place of it. I don't like the discard from the hand. Basically, when you place it on the field as Vanguard or Rearguard, you discard a card, or you can discard a card from hand, draw a card, and one of your grade 3 Vanguards gets 5k. So it does cycle, but you're not really gaining advantage. You're just throwing away something that you wouldn't need, like maybe an excess Ines or something, or you know, something that you don't really need to use for an extra draw. But I feel like it's not as good as some of these other cards, so that's why I feel like I'm just not sure what I would run in place of it for now. But let me know in the comments what you would suggest, if this is good as is, or what you would change. Alright, and then for the trigger lineup, I am running the 12 criticals. I am wanting to test out the new critical sentinels, and the Ahsha deck, as well as the Altmile deck, are some of the two decks that benefit from this type of trigger or sentinel very, very well. Like, I feel like the 12 crit is very aggressive. It can outright end games if the opponent just opened up with a bad mulligan. You know, it's just super, super good, super aggro. It's 12 crits done right. I feel like I just wish the Gear Chronicle deck could benefit from these the same way that the Ahsha and the Altmile deck can. But 12 critical Mylis, she's a classic for Ahsha from G, so it's nice to see her again. And then we are running just the 8 other criticals in general. And then you have your new Fairy Light Dragons. This is a reprint of the original heal that Tokuha used back in the anime. So 4 Fairy Light Dragon heals, and then Spring-Heralding Maiden Ozu as a starter. So that's basically my Ahsha deck. It will change. I will get a fourth one of these at some point, at 4th Anelma, 4th Padmini, but then the deck will just become a lot more generic. It'll be almost the same as what everyone else is running for Ahsha. So that's my take on a more unique build, not having access or immediate access to a playset of these. So hope you guys enjoyed that deck profile video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks.